All right.
Hi. Welcome to Intuitive Insights. Today we are going to be talking about timelines.
Yes. So, so today we're going to be talking a lot about, specifically about timelines and jumping timelines, shifting timelines, and with the awareness that time is an illusion and that we're always shifting in and out of parallel universes in each and every moment. It's really helpful to look at things from the perspective of shifting timelines, because that's the way that the mind operates right now in this specific time-space reality. So to break down the energy and to acknowledge what that looks like. So we entered into a portal on 2/2/2020. And even prior to that, we had some other portal dates that really highlighted shifting timelines. So what that looks like is when we're in the present moment, and then when we receive visions of the future, or when we're intentionally manifesting a reality that we desire. When we think of it, we are in that timeline in the future, which is happening simultaneously in the present moment. So with the simulation theory, it's like the past, the present, and the future are all happening simultaneously. And in each moment, we have the power within us to create our reality by choosing which timeline we want to anchor in the physical world. So when we shift timelines, we shift them by the choices that we make. So during the ascension process, there's a lot of timeline shifting because we are releasing the old timeline, or timelines that are maybe based out of lack, consciousness, fear, separation, consciousness, and then shifting into unity consciousness, the timeline of abundance and flow and like heart-centered energy. So from a linear perspective, it is again helpful to look at it in those timelines, because we are releasing those mental constructs, which would, maybe if we didn't shift them, they would keep us on this timeline that maybe we don't desire. But when we make a different choice and we rewire the brain by choosing something different, by maybe not staying what's comfortable, but by making a new choice, every time we choose love and we choose to trust the universe, then we are moving parts of our energy over into that timeline and then anchoring that in to the now moment in the physical body. So essentially we are, again, always moving in and out of those timelines. When I'm thinking about the past or thinking about the future, I am shifting in parallel universes. But when I'm present in the now moment, I'm able to be with my breath and my body and the flow of things. So that's why it's really important to be meditating, so that we can observe our thoughts from an objective standpoint to see what we are creating in our reality, and if that's the timeline that we want to continue on. And if it's not, if we're playing, the victim card, like, why are these things happening to me? I don't know why I keep attracting these relationships, or why am I working this job that I don't really want to work? Always worrying about money, or not trusting. Nobody wants to be in that energy, really. Everyone wants love. They want contentment. They want abundance. That's what we all desire. Connection, true connection. But when we realize that we have the ability to change that, it then becomes your responsibility to shift that by each choice that you make. So when you're placed in a position where, say, you lose a job, okay? It's like you are then presented with an opportunity with your free will to either choose to be in fear of what's going to happen next, or to trust that the universe is going to provide for you and that the right job will fall into place at the exact right moment. So that would be an example of shifting timelines with your choices of what you do with your emotions in that present moment. So, yeah. And do you have anything? I was feeling like you might have something to add to that.
Just to sort of, and so this concept is something that's, the concept itself, maybe the terminology is what's kind of new to me. So I'm kind of listening and taking in what Kayla's saying. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But the way I sort of look at this, maybe because it's the kind of language that's more familiar to me, is just the idea of the fact that all of these different realities exist simultaneously.
Yeah.
And when we're shifting timelines, what we're basically doing is shifting into another version of reality.
Yes.
And so that might be a way for people, if you're confused by that terminology, to sort of look at it. It's just like all of these options are, and all of these different realities in which I've made all of these hundreds of different choices are operating simultaneously. So I'm choosing which of those realities I want to anchor myself into and participate in and identify with.
Yeah, so it's like, that's exactly what it is. And it's like, is this the person that I want to become, or is this the person that I know I am? Because at your core, you are what you desire already, but it's just a matter of what we're manifesting into reality. Because with the perception that we are whole within ourselves and complete within this present moment, there's also the perception and acknowledgement that we also incarnated with a lot of patterns that we are clearing. So it's not really so much about becoming, it's just like the unbecoming, like we talked about before. And choosing love. I mean, to really put it in simple form, it's like, are you choosing fear, or are you choosing love? And every time you choose to act out of fear, you're perpetuating that timeline. But every time you choose love, you choose compassion, you choose joy, then you are choosing that timeline. Now, that doesn't disregard that when we're purging energy, there's going to be a lot of times where we need to be out of control in a way to release that energy. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're choosing that timeline. It's like purging the energy from that timeline, because we're not always meant to be in love and light and all this other stuff. That is not a reality. We're human. We have dark and light, and it's the polarities of the world. But your best version of yourself, basically.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, again, as I say any of this stuff, correct me if it doesn't sound accurate, but it's sort of like the predominant choices that we make determine what timeline or reality we're resisting in. or
Yeah.
existing in. Maybe that was a Freudian slip there, resisting. So for instance, if I sometimes fall back into a fear mentality and I choose from a place of fear, but I generally choose from a place of love, that's shifting me into that love timeline, that higher timeline.
Yeah.
Whereas if the more often I start making choices out of fear, the more I'm shifting over into this. It's whatever the predominant energy is that determines the timeline that we're choosing and existing in. And is it also, and I'm gonna get a little weird here, or a little philosophical, this idea that we're constantly shifting through timelines, like every moment we're technically in a different timeline, but it's only slightly different than the one we're in now.
Yes.
And so, for instance, the word that I choose next, when I'm explaining this, will shift me into a different timeline. And then maybe the slight differentials in the conversation that happen from that word choice.
Yeah.
So it's a slightly different timeline, but we're still basically in the same experience.
Yeah.
And then, so the idea is, if we want to manifest a huge change in our lives, we can do that in a really fast manner by thinking of it in a timeline perspective and shifting to a different timeline.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen within the context of what's kind of understandable to the linear mind. Right? So we're going to slowly shift from this reality to this timeline or reality, which is slightly different, but still within the realm of that.
Yeah.
And keep moving over and shifting over until we end up in the timeline that we want to experience. However, we can say, I want to manifest, for instance, I want to manifest being a full-time YouTuber, and I want to manifest being a full-time healer, and, having this incredible life where I'm learning new things and I'm traveling and I'm meeting new people and I'm having all these new enriching spiritual experiences. So I visualize myself in that timeline, and I start shifting slowly into matching that.
Yeah, and embodying the frequency first. Because it really, truly has to come from within, because that's the only solid foundation that will withstand everything, because anything that's based on an illusion will eventually come crumbling down to the ground. And when things are attracted through the law of vibration, which we'll get into in other videos, but embodying so it's like when we're manifesting or becoming or unbecoming our best version of ourselves, in the knowing that we already are that, we embody the frequency of it, and then it naturally draws it in, because we're not chasing the energy of it, because that comes from a place of lack. Like, I want this, I'm trying to manifest this. Well, no, I already am that. I already bring all this value to the world. I already am fulfilling my mission. I already am helping raise the consciousness of the earth. So therefore it draws in that timeline on a more physical, denser level, because we are energy, and it just naturally will draw that in.
And then you act according to that as well.
Yeah.
If I believe I am this person, I am doing this, I am existing this way in the world, I act in ways that solidify that. Yeah. And that's what helps when we talk about like solidifying or anchoring in that timeline. That's what helps anchor that in. We get up and we do the things that the person that we are. I want to say...
I know.
It gets so tricky with the lingo, right?
Does.
Because we're talking about manifesting. So what we're talking about is creating something that we don't necessarily have right now. However, in order to have it, we have to feel as though we already have it. So we don't want to say that we don't have it.
I know.
So it gets a little tricky, but just for the sake of the conversation and sort of understanding, is in order to become the person that I am becoming, I act as that person would act. I carry myself as that person would carry themselves. I do the things that that person would do. Right. And that is what moves me forward toward that new timeline. Yep. And I feel the way that person would feel, because that is who I am.
And it's like, how would I feel if this was in my physical reality? And then automatically it draws in that energy, because the heart energy is at least double times stronger than the mind. So it is the key. It is the key. So like when we're thinking about our true heart's desires, and we're thinking about people that we love deeply, and because I feel so passionately about helping the earth, and I know Kassia does too. So it's like our conversations get so
passionate.
Yes, because we are so excited about it. But with that energy, that's how it comes in, because the intention is pure, and it's coming from the heart.
Yeah.
So that's also a part of the timeline shifting, that it's like, I know my heart. I know that this is who I am. I know that I bring value to this earth. I know what I deserve. And then continuously choosing that timeline, that self-love, that compassion, that understanding, that knowing, and that remembering, and allowing those old timelines, those old patterns, those old systems to fall away. Because as we starve them, basically, then they continuously turning that back to source, like redirecting the energy back to source by drawing your own energy back to love. So
I love how it always comes back to love.
I know. It's like so simple, but the human mind just needs to know why. Why? God, why is this happening? Why are we here? What is this thing called time? It's like...
It's because.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And it's so great to be able to, like we were talking about, like for me, like I just intellectualize everything, and I'm really grateful for that. But also, it can prove to be challenging at the same time. But for me personally, I chose to incarnate into a being that could do that, so that I could articulate it to the people that will be drawn to these messages and everything. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's basically it for timelines and how those come into play, and what that looks like when you're shifting timelines. And the intention behind sharing this information during this specific time, and we're going to get into in more videos, is the timeline jumps that's happening in February. So as those come up in other videos, it's good to have the information available as to what that looks like when we start talking about it.
Yeah, and it's just, I'm not sure if you mentioned this or not, is just the fact that we're clearing such monumental amounts of energy right now.
Yeah.
That's why, we're talking about how it tends to be a gradual shift to get from here, not that any of this really exists anyway, but from here to here.
Yeah. I know, right?
And how you have to go through all these similar realities or timelines to get to this. But with all the huge purges and energy and everything that's been going on, is all of a sudden we are kind of jumping from here to here.
Yeah, and quickly. I mean, faster than ever before.
Faster than ever. So, like, things are manifesting. We're putting our intentions out there. We're putting our energy out there. We're learning more and more how to focus our energy. And I think a lot of that also comes from not just, like, mentally how we're able to focus our intentions, but the more how our energy is becoming more powerful. And as our energy, we step into a more full expression of our energy that is projecting more powerfully our intentions out into the universe, and things are coming back very, very quickly. And that's what we are, shifting from one reality to another.
Yeah, collectively, it's happening collectively, and we talk about this a lot, and we'll continue to talk about it, because that's what this is all about. But it's just shifting from, and there's so many different terms for it, but it is the ascension. It is ascending from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, third, fourth, fifth, however you want to look at it. But essentially that is shifting timelines, moving from fear to love, moving from lack, separation consciousness to unity consciousness, the one. That we are no longer separate from God. We're no longer perceiving that we're separate from God. we are now remembering that we are God.
Yeah.
That we are one with God.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we need to coin that term.
Yeah.
The great remembering.
I know.
I really like that.
I want to make shirts.
You know? Right? We should. We're going to. That's going to happen.
I know.
That's going to happen. We're jumping into that time
right now.
We're anchoring
we're
that
here.
in.
We made it. Yeah. These are our shirts.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's perfect.
I know.
And yeah. I don't even remember what you were talking about now. I just got so filled with joy over that. You know, this is just such a beautiful process that we're undertaking, and it's so cool, and I can't wait to see. I mean, as these timeline shifts and jumps are happening, I mean, it's going to be really fascinating to see that playing out and what that looks like collectively.
I know.
And I think it's going to really bring a sense of hope to people who have been feeling maybe kind of hopeless, because it's like we look at everything in such a linear fashion, right?
Yeah.
So we look at the state of how we perceive the world to be, which a lot of that is false. Yeah. You know, our perceptions are based on a lot of inner biases and we won't even get into all of that right now. But the way that we may perceive the world to look, and the way that this idealized version of what the world could be, you know, and we think, oh God, how is that ever going to happen? How are we ever going to get from here to here? Yeah. You know, this can happen in any scenario with any situation, you know, larger or smaller, any variation of that. And to be able to start understanding how simple it really is to switch from one completely seemingly different reality or timeline into another one really brings a sense of hope, and it reminds us like how intensely powerful we are. Yeah. And that absolutely anything is possible right now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, literally anything is possible. Mm. Like, all possibilities are possible. We are unlimited beings. Mm. Unlimited. Like, just think about that for a second. Mm. Anything that you want, anything that you desire in your heart is already yours in another timeline. You already have it. So know that you already have it. Feel that you already have it. And bam, it'll just show up in your reality. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because and that's coming from my own experience. Like, that has literally, I've seen it, I've experienced it in the physical. I would never, ever share it unless it actually happened, because my human mind is very skeptical. Yeah. So it's like, when I start to receive proof in the physical, that's why I say in other videos, like, okay, universe, I want to see 777 3 times today, you know, and like all this stuff. And the universe is like, okay, like, you're attracting all this stuff, like, you're only doubting yourself, you know? Yeah. So it's really fun. So just know that anything that you want, you can have in this reality. You just have to believe that it's already yours. So that is how you jump timelines, baby. Boom. Yep. Just like that. Yeah, so again, if you want a personal reading, I do readings, tarot readings, and I can look into timelines as well. If you were to go down this timeline, what that would look like, if you were to go change that and go down this timeline, that is what that would look like, and look at like the best options in regards to that, because it can become confusing without an outside perspective. It's just nice to get that outside perspective on timelines and seeing where you're at and where you're shifting and where you're at and what you need to do. So the links will be below. Yep.
Definitely links for my services as well. Yeah, energy healing is a fabulous tool as far as being able to really fine-tune our energy and be putting forth the clearest vibration to attract those things that we want. The heart. And to really, to open up that heart energy and maybe help us to sort of clear away some of the cobwebs if we are confused about what it is that we do want or what direction we want to be going in. That can definitely help with that. And I can do a healing for you anywhere that you are in the world. It does not require face-to-face contact. Energy is fluid. Mm-hmm. It's time and space are an illusion, and energy is absolutely not bound by those things. So please reach out. if you would like a healing, if you would like a reading.
Yeah.
We are absolutely here, and we would love to be of assistance.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're going to throw it out again. If there are any topics that you're
Yes.
interested in that you want to hear about, leave it down in the comments below. We're definitely looking forward to hopefully finding time to do a live sometime in this coming week, where we'll also be able to, you know, talk about whatever's on your mind.
Yeah.
But definitely please let us know in the comments if there's anything you want to hear more about, because we are really enjoying making these videos.
Yeah.
And I mean, the possibilities and the topics are endless.
Yeah.
Really.
I know, more and more keeps coming through, but just hearing from you all, we want to be of service in regards to that. So anything you want to hear about, just let us know.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right.
All right. We love you all so much.
Bye.